I'm Brittany Peterson. I am from Idaho, but I am living up in Canmore, Alberta at this point. I'm a coach for Peak Run Performance. You can find me on Instagram at Run Happy Bee or at Team Peak Run and follow me on Facebook. I started running when I was in junior high, like dinking around on a track, figuring out long distance, short distance, hurdles, everything. But I had a really influential coach in high school that got me into trail running. Like some of my favorite workouts were like we were right next to a state park in northern Minnesota. And so my favorite workout was like one weekend we'd go deep into the state park and like literally run up a creek and riverbed like the entire long run. And so it really fostered just adventuring and that just drew me to the trails. And so then following completion of my master's degree in occupational therapy, I moved out to Idaho and that like I found all of the mountains and just fell in love with the West. And so that brought me to trail running 50Ks. And then obviously, as most of us know, like that quickly goes into trying longer distances, gnarlier races, whatever. So I've done a little bit of it all in terms of like sky running, fast 100 milers, and then mountain running. And so, yeah, like Run Rabbit Run has always been on my radar because it's one of those iconic mountain races in Steamboat Springs, Colorado, which I'm super excited to get to. I kind of love my story because like I had injuries after injuries in high school and college. I had undiagnosed compartments and like exercise-induced compartment syndrome that didn't get diagnosed until halfway through my collegiate season or like collegiate eligibility. So I ran D3. And I feel like once I finished college, stopped racing as much, eventually found my way to like proper coaching and just gained knowledge and experience on how to do it properly. Um, I got into the mountains and I know my coach at the time was kind of like, wow, none of this fits like your collegiate times. And so really it's like I PR'd in my 5K at age 30. Several things. Like my last 2 years, I had two hip surgeries in 2023. Then I broke my ankle at the end of 2023. So I've kind of had a little rough go the last couple of years. And I remember like last November, I did my first 100K, like coming back after all of that. And it was really just like this celebration, return to competing, but then like exploring that world of, the return to elite running, which is quite the journey after such a long time away. And so I feel like this year now in 2025, it's like, okay, I have my first 100K behind me, my belt. Like I have several races lined up. Like that's why I love the timing of Run Rabbit Run because it's like end of season. I can take this early season and really build towards being competitive at Run Rabbit Run. There's so much hidden talent everywhere, but like Colorado is the hub, I feel like, of so much talent that yeah, like you probably get the like newcomers that are bursting onto the scene as well as the old veterans that are like, heck yeah, I'm gonna go and throw my hat in the mix. And if I have a great day out there, does that help show attention or obviously put money in your pocket? Sure. But I think that's something that is there, but it's something I'm focusing on of like that can't be my why because that's not sustainable. I don't know, like formally, no, not necessarily, but it's like I will always advocate for them. I will always feel affiliated with them because that is a huge part. Like I've had rough patches and I know what bigger than the trail is out to like try to normalize getting help, normalize struggle. Like that's always going to be a mission of mine and a passion of mine of like being a lending hand to, I don't know. I mean, that's where I look at like my journey in the last couple of years. Like I'm not ashamed of my struggles. I'm not ashamed of like needing help. And I'm not ashamed to talk about it because it's like if I can make a difference for one person out there, like to not have to go through some of the low times that I went through, like that means the world to me. Yeah, so it's a new organization or a new foundation where really it's a veteran. Chris Ropp is the founder of it, and so I connected with them just within the last like 4 or 5 months as they're looking to grow. So it's donation led, trying to get sponsorship and funding to have the ability to basically fund a veteran getting connected with coaching services. And so they're looking around at like making that sustainable and gathering donations and raising awareness. But the whole idea, like Chris is a veteran himself, and he found that just he didn't have the services or didn't seem to have the right support to help him in his healing journey following his service. So struggles with PTSD and just the standard medical model just wasn't making a difference or helping him. And so he really found that trail running in the community and just how he was able to like pour his heart into his running and find goals, and that just lit a new fire in him, um and like to a point where he feels like that was his medicine, that was what helped him, or helps him manage his PTSD. I think it's strategies. Like I'm all about mantras, where it's like my mantra in life at times, but like my mantra in trail running is, like you have to harness your mind and like not think of like, oh my gosh, I have 60 miles left. It's like, no, no, no. Like I have 5 miles to the aid station. And so like my mantra is get to the next aid station. I think, I mean, from what I yeah, from what I know about it, which I'm not going to say I know everything about it, but from what I know about it, it's like runnable, but lots of climbing. And so I'm excited to try to combine the best of both of like being fit and being able to run. But I know like I have a good summer of mountain races, and like I spend a lot of time in Canmore, Alberta, the heart of the Rocky Mountains in Canada, where it's like I will get as much climbing because that's what I love doing. Good. I mean, I am lining up at Gorge Waterfalls 100K in what, 2 weekends. So I think that's a good launching point of you need fitness there and they're still climbing. And then from there, it's like hope the mountains clear out and it's getting into mountain season. So I've been kind of in that 70 to 80 miles a week, um, playing around with, for me, like adding intensity. I think with my body has just gone through a lot, like the ankle fracture,
Yeah.
unfortunately, affected my hip, which was the whole elective, like needed surgery that I had prior to that. And I broke my left ankle, which was my more impaired hip. And so I'm still with the ankle, a new thing. Like this is control what you can control, and your mindset is everything. Where I'm like, I am becoming an even better coach because I now understand how complex the ankle is and how important it is for gait mechanics and how it can shift throughout your whole body. Because my ankle, when I get limited, if it gets locked up, which it still can, it can throw off my hip mechanics still. And so that's where it's still been a kind of an uphill battle sorting through that, which kind of takes headspace. It is different. I'm certainly not a PT, but I think combining my education and like I worked in neurological rehab, so I was working with stroke patients where it's like I'm very, I'm more upper body, but it's like with my injury and my own running background, I've applied the principles and I've learned a lot from really good physical therapists that I've worked with throughout the years, to understand in a similar sense of like when I worked with someone who had a stroke that they're working on regaining function of their arm. I'm looking at how is that arm supposed to move? I'm looking at the compensation that's going to occur and just how that's going to be detrimental to actually restoring function properly. So it's interesting because I, even before all that, like pressure got to me, my own headspace got to me. I was running for validation or just falling into that of like, oh man, I'm not good enough if I don't win. It's like, I think more athletes are talking about that, but it's like I've struggled with that. And then you get a complete rip from the whole scene, and like all of those endorphins are gone because I was out. So it's like, okay, I got to a point where it's like, humility is high. Like I'm running in Canmore and I'm getting my butt kicked by people that I race against that I would beat all the time. And so it's like but it's like I'm able to shift that headspace into like I can run with them now and I can push hard with them. They might beat me in a race or beat me in a workout or whatever, but it's like I can look at it as they have helped me motivate to like get back and come back stronger, and I can see my own progress. Well, my partner doesn't like winter, and so we have a like our agreement is every winter we're going to take like a 3 to 4 week trip, and this year it is Thailand. So you're going to help me get to Thailand. I mean, so I did what back in like 2018, I did the World Skyrunning Series, and so I raced over in Europe a lot, and it was pretty insightful like racing in Europe where it's like it is a legit sport. Like I gained so many followers on social media, but like and they were all Europeans. But then like just being an athlete in a race environment, like the vibe is like no other. And then of course I like it was funny. Like, the reason I giggled was because then I got my golden ticket at Bandera in 2019, and there's like three people at the finish line when I won. So it's like that contrast between, you know, the sport in Europe versus the sport in the US is there. And I do think that that change or that gap is decreasing where the vibe is growing um at the actual event, but I think the whole like people following the sport, what Free Trail is doing, like just and all of the live streaming and everything. Plus, like from the women's side of things, I know so many people have talked about, like just access, whether it's like a mother and like having care for children so that they can get out and train or even do a race itself. So I think just more things, like more conversations are being had about barriers for all of us, but barriers for women in particular that are decreasing. Yeah, I probably go flip a switch where it's like I have my routines that I've done for a long time now, and it's really just like kind of just hunker in and like tunnel vision until I get to that start line and get that gun to go off so that I can just get going. And Emily Mann is like the most graceful, beautiful uphill runner I've ever seen. Like she just is like a little gazelle floating up the mountain, where it's like that is my like aspiration of like I look up to her, but it's cool to like hear things like flip around where it's like no, I look up to you, where it's like oh really? I don't know. So it's just that whole like good rises good. Like, let's all raise each other up. Where if she wants to come back, which I don't know if she is or not, but if she wants to come back, I would gladly chase behind her. And you never know.